Hello, radiant souls of Leo, Luna Celestine here, and today I bring you a message not everyone is ready to receive, but you, with your courageous heart and undeniable light, are more than ready. Lately, have you felt like something invisible is standing in your way? Doors that once opened with ease now seem to stay shut. Opportunities you know you're worthy of seem to slip through your fingers. You've shown up, you've tried, and yet progress feels just out of reach. This isn't random, this is divine design. The universe isn't punishing you, it's upgrading you. On April 5th, 2025, powerful cosmic energy is stirring deep within your chart, activating areas that bring challenge, yes, but also transformation. What you're facing right now isn't an end, it's a sacred transition. From an old version of yourself that no longer fits, to one that's destined for a greater throne. And in today's journey, we'll uncover why things have felt so difficult lately, and how these very blocks may be the key to a life more expansive and brilliant than you ever imagined. Let's begin with your 10th house, the area of your chart that governs career, reputation, and the legacy you're here to build. Right now, you may feel like your professional path is stuck in slow motion, like no matter how hard you work, recognition is just out of reach. You're showing up giving your all, but the spotlight feels dimmer than usual, and for someone born to shine as brightly as you, that can be especially frustrating. This tension isn't a reflection of failure. It's Saturn, the planet of structure, discipline, and long-term growth, making its presence known in your 10th house. And when Saturn shows up, shortcuts stop working. Surface-level ambition no longer gets results. The universe is testing your foundation. It's asking, is the path you're on truly built to last? Is your vision aligned with who you're becoming or who you used to be? If old roles, titles, or goals are starting to feel tight or meaningless, that's not a mistake. It means you've outgrown them. This is not the time to cling. It's the time to reimagine. You're being invited to clarify what success truly means to you and to rebuild your vision from a place of deeper integrity. Let go of the image you've been maintaining if it no longer feels true. Let go of paths that drain you just to keep others impressed. You're not here for small applause. You're here to lead in a way that reflects your soul, not just your resume. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these shifts in your outer world are mirrored in your relationships. Because what's falling apart out there is also asking you to look within. Now, let's turn to your 7th house, the part of your chart that governs relationships, partnerships, and how you connect with others on a deep, committed level. If your relationships have been feeling heavier than usual, that's not your imagination. Whether it's in love, friendships, business, or family, the dynamics are shifting. Tension is rising. Connections that once felt easy may now feel draining or confusing. You may even find that certain relationships are coming to a natural or unexpected end. This is the work of Pluto, the planet of transformation, truth, and deep psychological change. When Pluto moves through your 7th house, it doesn't let you ignore what's no longer working. It brings power struggles, buried fears, and long-standing imbalances to the surface, not to break you, but to show you what needs to be healed. Old patterns are being revealed. If you've been overgiving, overextending, or playing small to keep peace, those cycles are being exposed. Pluto doesn't support pretending. It demands honesty with others, but most of all with yourself. This isn't about cutting people off impulsively. It's about drawing a line between what supports your growth and what holds you back. The universe is asking you to protect your energy, to say yes only to the connections that reflect who you're becoming, not who you used to be. You're not losing people, you're shedding dynamics, and what remains, or what arrives after this, will be far more real, more nourishing, and more aligned. And just as the external bonds are being redefined, the final shift we need to explore is even more subtle and personal, the quiet transformation unfolding inside you. because some of the biggest blocks right now aren't in your outer world. They're rooted in places you may not have looked yet. Now we arrive at the most hidden and mysterious part of your chart, the 12th house. This is the space of your subconscious, your spiritual history, and the karmic threads that have been woven through lifetimes. It's not a house that speaks loudly, but when it's activated, especially under the influence of Neptune, it can feel like you're walking through fog without a map. If you've been feeling blocked, but can't point to anything specific holding you back, this is why. The obstacles here aren't external. They live beneath the surface, in the form of limiting beliefs, emotional residue, and unhealed patterns that are still quietly running the show. You might find yourself repeating behaviors without understanding why, or feeling weighed down by emotions that don't seem to match your current reality. Neptune in the 12th house has a dissolving effect. It blurs the lines between intuition and illusion, memory and imagination. It can make you question what's real, including your own sense of direction. But this isn't a punishment. It's a sacred invitation to turn inward, to explore the places within you that you've been avoiding, to sit with the parts of yourself that are still aching for closure. This is where real transformation begins. Not in the public eye, not in your relationships, but in the quiet moments when you allow yourself to feel, to reflect, to remember. If you've been pushing your emotions aside, trying to stay strong or keep moving, this energy will keep slowing you down until you finally pause. This is a time for deep healing. Journaling, meditation, dream work, and any practice that brings you into honest dialogue with your inner world will be powerful right now. You may even uncover fears or memories that didn't make sense before, but now they're asking to be seen, understood, and released. Let yourself grieve what you've outgrown. Let yourself mourn old versions of you, and above all, give yourself space to reconnect with your own inner wisdom, because underneath all the confusion is a clear knowing waiting to rise. And as you clear the old energy, you'll create space for something far more aligned to take root. You've been working so hard to manage everything around you, Leo, but now the most important work is within. And when you choose to meet yourself here, with honesty and compassion, you'll realize the biggest breakthrough isn't coming from outside. It's been inside you all along. So how do you move through all of this? The delays, the endings, the quiet unraveling of what used to feel stable? It begins with surrender. Not the kind that means giving up, but the kind that means no longer resisting what's already shifting. The changes happening in your life aren't working against you. They're making space for something your soul has been asking for, even if your mind doesn't fully understand it yet. The roles, relationships, and routines that are falling away, they were never meant to carry you into this next version of yourself. You're being asked to let go, not just of things outside you, but of the attachments within you, the fear of being unseen, the need to control every outcome, the habit of shrinking your light just to keep the peace. These are the real blocks, and when you release them, you create space for the truth of who you are to rise to the surface. This is also a time to reconnect with your desire, the kind of desire that lives beneath the surface, beyond the expectations of others. What do you truly want? Not just what looks impressive on paper or what feels safe. What would it look like to be fully aligned with your own joy, your own vision, your own values? Obstacles have a way of forcing clarity. They strip away the noise. They challenge you to stop chasing what was never yours to begin with and start claiming what was always meant for you. But that requires courage, and thankfully, Leo, that's something you were born with. Remember that you are not a victim of these circumstances. You are a participant in your own evolution. Every setback has been a training ground, every delay, a redirection. The strength you're building now, in silence, in discomfort, is the same strength that will carry you into your next breakthrough. And yes, timing matters. There's a reason things haven't happened yet. Not because you're not ready, but because what's coming isn't. The universe is still moving the pieces, Trust that. Trust yourself. You haven't been forgotten. You've been held, prepared, shaped. And as we close, I want you to remember this. When you finally see the full picture, when the pieces start to align, you'll understand why every detour was divine. You're not just being challenged, you're being chosen for something greater, something truer, something that no one else but you was meant to carry. And this moment, right here, right now, is the beginning of it. There's one more truth I want you to sit with, something easy to overlook when life feels like it's working against you. This isn't just about becoming stronger or finding clarity. It's also about learning how to be with yourself in the in-between, in the silence, in the space where nothing seems to be happening, but everything actually is. You're in a cocoon phase, and cocoon phases don't look like progress. They look like confusion, like doubt, like stillness that stretches on longer than feels comfortable. But just because you can't see the growth doesn't mean it isn't happening. This is where patience becomes power. And more than that, presence. Because presence is what keeps you from slipping into old cycles. It's what helps you recognize when fear is masquerading as logic. It's what teaches you how to stand in your truth without rushing to fix or escape what's hard. Another layer of this time is about allowing help. As a Leo, you're wired to lead, to inspire, to carry others. But even the strongest need support. And one of the hidden lessons in all of this might be about receiving, letting yourself be held emotionally, spiritually, or practically by those who genuinely want to show up for you. Let yourself be seen in the mess, not just the strength. You're also learning discernment. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every opportunity is meant to be chased. You're being guided to notice what truly resonates, what feels alive and real in your body, not just what seems right in theory. This kind of intuitive alignment becomes your compass, and it only becomes clear when you slow down long enough to listen. So while part of you may be craving action, movement, certainty, another part of you, the wiser part, knows this pause has a purpose, and if you honor it instead of fighting it, you'll come out on the other side not only clearer, but far more connected to yourself than you've been in a long time. This chapter isn't about fixing everything. It's about coming home to yourself, so that when the momentum returns, you're not just running again, you're running in the right direction. And there's something else, something more subtle, but just as important. This moment in your life is not only about direction, it's about identity. Not the identity shaped by what you do or how others see you, but the one that exists when everything else is stripped away. Who are you when the titles fall off, when the roles shift, when there's nothing to prove and no one to perform for? Because underneath the striving, underneath the ambition and the fire, there is a quieter version of you, the one who simply is. The one who's not driven by expectation but by essence. And this season is calling that version forward. Sometimes, life will hold back the very things you think you want, just to bring you face to face with that question. Who are you without it? The job, the relationship, the approval, the forward motion. If all of it is paused, does your light dim, or does it glow even stronger in the dark? This space you're in, it's teaching you how to root into yourself so deeply that external change doesn't shake your inner knowing. You're learning that stability doesn't come from things staying the same. It comes from building a foundation within that doesn't collapse when things shift outside. And that's the deeper gift here. Yes, the universe is preparing things for you. New opportunities, deeper love, renewed purpose. But it's also inviting you to become someone who can hold all of that with presence, maturity, and a grounded sense of self. Because it's one thing to receive what you've asked for, it's another thing to be ready to hold it, to nurture it, without losing yourself in the process. So no, this is not a delay, it's devotion from life, from spirit, from something greater that believes in you enough to prepare you fully before the next chapter begins. And when it does, when the path clears and the energy shifts, you won't just be walking into something new, you'll be walking in as someone new. So as we close today, I want you to remember this. You are not being blocked, you are being refined. Every challenge you're facing is not an interruption, but an initiation. The universe sees your potential more clearly than you might right now, and it's shaping you into someone who can carry more, hold more, and be more than ever before. This is not the end of your story. It's a sacred pause before the next rise. Trust that where you are is exactly where you need to be, even if it doesn't feel like progress, because something is building, quietly, deeply, powerfully. And when it arrives, you'll understand why nothing else worked, why the waiting mattered, why the breaking was necessary for the becoming. Keep going, Leo. Your light is not fading, it's focusing. And when it's time to shine again, you won't just return. You'll rise, brighter, wiser, and more you than you've ever been. I'm Luna Celestine. Until next time, take care of your energy and trust the stars. They've never stopped working in your favor.